people forget this too. They're writing a check for $500,000 on
Yeah.
a loan on a purchase that you're making for $525,000. So like, of course they're going to ask for things.
Yeah.
Right now. They're going to be a little bit more strict on asking for it. And it's not me. It's not just the companies I'm broker to. It's across the board. I know it to be fact, right? And I have plenty of conversations with other, mortgage lenders that are brave enough to be honest. And so it's just the nature of the beast.
You might be looking at rates every day, but you are not looking at the right areas when you're thinking about the mortgage industry. You and I talk about mortgage rates all the time. We talk about the 10-year note all the time. But you know what? What if the lenders are scared? What if the lenders are pulling back? Might that make a difference in the lending market? We're going to talk to the one and only Matt, the mortgage guy, and we're not going to talk rates. We're not going to talk 10-year. We're going to talk about the industry's appetite to lend, because I think it's going to shock you. What do you got, buddy?
Well, I've got a lot of data. In Q2, as a company, we closed 2010 loans for about $700 million. And we closed that across near 20 different lenders. So I'm not talking about one specific lender. I'm not talking about one specific product. I'm talking about lending as a whole. Hundreds of millions of loans funded, 24 different lenders that we've used. And this is the opposite of marketing, right? If I wanted business to come in, I would talk about rates are down and they're down friggin' 20 basis points. I would say things are easy, come on down. I'm going to be known for telling the truth, Mike. And the truth is lenders are tightening the screws a little bit. And the thing about it is I'm not trying to sound alarm bells that somebody who qualified 2 months ago is not going to qualify today. But what I am going to say is when you're really intimate and you're really close to real estate transactions, mortgage transactions, you can feel the subtle adjustments. If you're not paying attention to real estate, you might think the market's the same that it was a month ago. Those of us that are paying attention say things have changed. Same thing goes for mortgage. A lot of mortgages coming through me and my team, coming through U Mortgage as a whole. Here's an example that will prove to you my point. We've got a borrower, granted, multiple income sources, multiple properties, but it's a loan that we look at. We tell them you're fully pre-approved. We can close this thing in under 30 days, no problem. It gets to a lender. How many conditions do you think we have, Mike? On an average loan, we package a really tight file. We have 5, 6, 8 conditions. On this one, if you told me we're going to come out with 12, I might say, okay, it's a tougher file. It's going to have conditions on some of the properties and maybe show these other income sources. I don't know if I want to keep you in suspense. Well, guess.
Oh, so I know it's more than 12. I'm going to go 24 just because it's a double.
46.
Oh,
I'm texting with my processor this morning, Mike. She is so excited. We've got 3 conditions left. She's cleared 43 of the 46. We're still going to close on time. The thing's due to close next Tuesday, but that borrower comes to me and says, Matt, this isn't my first loan. What's going on? And I tell him, hey, to be completely honest with you, you're not the only one. I just did a loan for a frigging state worker. W-2 income, it is the same every single month. I've done hundreds of loans for California state workers and like first property, W-2 income, great credit. Like this is the easiest file of all time. The lender found a way to ask for 9 or 10 conditions and then follow it with more. And I know people are going to say, not my lender. We're different. It's
happening.
Yeah, they're saying that.
So let me poke at that. So first off, thank you for bringing it to us. Most mortgage brokers would hide that fact because they don't want to tell it's getting harder out there. I want to step back and go ask the question of why. I believe the reason lenders would do that is because they're scared. Now, I've been around long enough to know scared could mean one of two things. Scared could mean this deal that they're working on. I don't think that's the problem. What I think's going on behind the scenes is they realize their balance sheet, the loans that they did a year, 2, 3 years ago are not as valuable. And especially if these lenders are commercial oriented, they're in trouble. So I actually think what you're seeing is lenders are pulling back because they're just lenders are not as strong as they used to be. Their balance sheets I still think we have a bunch of bank failures coming. I don't know how else to tell you, but I think we have some more bank failure. You can't extend
Yeah,
and pretend forever.
right. And for my side, where I'm working, sell lenders that are, strictly residential for the most
Sure,
part, it's
that's
probably
true.
not that. But what I think, if I were to guess, and so this is going to be where no lenders excluded. You can't tell me you're excluded if Fannie and Freddie start fine-tooth combing things and everyone's packaging these loans and selling them to Fannie and Freddie, then the lenders naturally say, you know what? We're getting more buybacks than normal. They're kicking more stuff back to us. We're going to clamp down on our underwriters and say, don't let this happen again. We don't want 2%
So let's talk
coming
about that,
back to
because
us.
you just said something that you know intimately, and I know because we're buddies. Talk about that buyback. Talk about what that really means.
Well, the way to understand it for the layman, I think the way that I understand it is most lenders, almost all lenders that are doing conventional loans are just packaging loans according to the rules of Fannie and Freddie, because they're
Correct.
the end buyer. And so they're saying,
Correct.
here's the debt to income ratio, here's that. And if they send off a loan and Fannie and Freddie reviews it and goes, well, this adoption income or this other, like, this doesn't follow our guide. We told you if you send us loans to play by our rules. That's your loan now. We don't want it. And
Exactly.
there's always going to be some of those if you're working with a lender that does hundreds of billions a year. It's natural. But if there's more than normal, what the lender
Exactly.
does in response to that is says, hey, underwriters, let's start fine-tooth combing them before we send, because they're going to
So,
they've told us
so, so again, we're completely guessing. I'm completely guessing. This is not my
yeah,
area of expertise,
admittedly guessing.
but it makes sense, right? If Fannie and Freddie have started in the last 90 days kicking loans back to lenders saying, hey, you missed this, not a pass. You have to take it back. It's now yours. You get enough of those, that's going to mess with your ratios, and you're going to do everything you can to prevent that from occurring in the future. Because again, what's going to happen in that case is you probably have to sell that loan to somebody else at a discount.
Or let it sit on your books, and
Or,
lenders
yeah,
don't necessarily want too many of those. I
they
think
don't like
the
that.
message
Yep.
I want people to hear is, I don't think this is going to have such an effect that I'm telling you you're not going to qualify. I'm setting a proper expectation of, don't be upset if the lender, which people forget this too, they're writing a check for $500,000 on a
Yeah.
loan on a purchase that you're making for 525,000. So, like, of course they're going to ask for things.
Yeah.
Right now, they're going to be a little bit more strict on asking for it. And it's not me. It's not just the companies I'm broker to. It's across the board. I know it to be fact, right? And I've had plenty of conversations with other, mortgage lenders that are brave enough to be honest. And so it's just the nature of the beast. You think about it in an environment where buyers are a little bit uncertain, election coming up, uncertain economic times. Lenders are companies that have these same
Yeah,
thoughts.
I agree. Dude, this is wild. I've just started talking about this. I'm so glad you brought this up. I think this election is going to cause the entire economy to tighten up a little bit.
These
And that
next few months,
includes
it feels like people are standing still.
exactly.
Yep.
And that is going to be interesting because that could kick us into a recession in a big way. And yeah, buckle up.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
In the
It's going to be
midst
wild.
of that, and then coming out of that, which is the hope for most of us that are optimistic, there's going to be opportunity. So don't be the one standing still, right? Like, that's another message for One Rental Time. Don't stand still just because others are. Make sure that you're plugged in. You're gonna,
Absolutely.
making smart moves only, but there's going to be moves to
Aggressive
be made.
offers, disrespectful, ask for terms, get buy downs, ask for the moon. I hope people realize that about me. One of the reasons I'm so successful and have that book to prove it is I go the opposite direction of everybody else. Everybody else running that way, not going that way. Everybody frozen, time to get busy.
Everyone going on vacation for 4th of July. I'm staying put and saving my dough.
That's right, baby. Let's that's right. Yeah. So I'm going to be writing some crazy disrespectful offers in the second half of the year. That much I can promise. I love this conversation. I do think everything's slowing down. If I was a potential somebody who needed a loan, I would want to work with a lender like yourself who's telling me the truth. And what I would tell everybody, what I heard Matt say is he still can get the deals done. Just realize you're going to have a lot more back and forth, right? You're going to have conditions. And conditions are not abnormal. Just be ready for them. More documentation, more of this. You may have to send something 2 or 3 times. It's not abnormal. Just be ready for it.
Yep. I'm not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. That's a guarantee. GreatMortgageBroker.com. Connect with me and the team. We're in 48 states. I'm happy to help, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to do that just to make you or me feel good. You're much better served getting the truth, and that's what I'm serving all day, every day.
There you go, brother. I appreciate you. Have a great 4th.
Yep. Thanks. You too,
Thanks.
brother.